Alright, abusua mi mo bibia kwa aba emfa abra mega TV so ene 1st February 2025 na abusua na ewo say on the 30th of January ya etwam ya wode ya etwam ye ewo say na omo interview Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa as the minister designate for foreign affairs. Abusua esam pinche bi ekoso ewo vetting appointment committee na senate no enema entimi ankoso and draw the 31st of January 2025 and a vetting ekoso and ye na ye hu hawa enema isi ekoye na pinche me ekoye no eno ena the subject matter ewo hanom ye na ye hu Nelson Roxin Dafiamapo Frankana Dompre hawa na omubu efu even Frankana Dompre efa akondwa no de ato table so no mo say microphones abusunya ye na ehunhun sunsanso na endra na Speaker of Parliament etnase na otnase no ena osi no ono ontimi enye den panyin ntimi ntena fie ema nkwada nwena nka eba sa de omubum na nka wefo a omode ne befra enti watena asem ne so enei was suspended 4 MPs na omudi eni baako eneye Roxin Nelson Dafiamapo ono ye the chief majority whip edema NDC amanyuko no sansona Frankana Dompre so chief minority whip edema MPP amanyuko no ena Ara Hassan Tampali ono so eka ho ene Jerry Ahmed Shaib abusia we nkrofo a yewura speaker wamo 2 week suspension so mu emba parliamentary proceedings ehon for 2 weeks na ensemi bayi ena nkrofo bi sase na siden ena NDC for MPs anasa omo suspend omo yi 2 whips for the various caucus that is the minority and the majority no enti ade na ekoso abusia onti ni mabiase yenko na yenkoji emu enchirichiri mu bra kwaku anan ene ni panelist anase the panel member tenase ano mo chechirim omoma the full details the reasons why ema sankofo we omoye den the whip no the various whips for the various caucus no omo speaker to me assumption omo with 2 week suspension what you say yanko ne yanko ti sanse ni emu ejire mu ne yenhwe the reasons why any nsem bia eboboba free parliament yanko punshira meso say o document beto na like dwede na wa share na foforo enye bia hwe yamfa credit ni ema my CTV Ghana kwakwa nan ene ne dom yanko ne yanko ti sanse no emfa bekoba ye beto aso makra bibia yanko bra
Pien dindin pia ebi so table so be fa wiem eneme ade. What is going on here? Well, folks, for the purpose of moi eno amwentimi anhwe na bia besi sa time unye hu exactly what is going on. Ma yi footages in ensure na hwa ade e koso ewo enra parliament or appointments committee or ne sedia oho ye say beja. Take a lesson and watch this and watch it carefully. Viewers' discretion can be exercised. Take a lesson.
That were posed to him relative to those issues. He has shown enough strength when it comes to the particular sector. So for me, I think he has done fantastically well when it comes to that particular sector.
Thank you very much. What you are witnessing is a commotion there with the minority members of the committee, led by the leader and the ranking member for the committee, insisting that the two outstanding nominees, Samuel Okututa Ablakwa for Foreign Affairs and then also Kwabena Kando for Health, will not be attended to. The two of them have actually taken their seats here, and they've been here for a while now. The minority members of the committee insist that they are not willing to allow the process to continue for these two individuals to be attended to. And that is the commotion you are seeing there. As a result, they have activated their microphones. And once the microphones are activated, the chairman is disabled from being able to communicate to the committee for the president.
They should walk out. Micro minority that they should walk out.
Well, so there you had somebody indicating that if the minority members of the committee are tired, they should walk out. And you hear Alexander Kwamina Fenyomakin blaming the clerk of the committee regarding what is happening, and so it's quite serious here. It's quite serious here with the minority members of the committee who are having none of what is happening. Honorable, what's happening?
They want to smuggle other people. That was not the agreement. The agreement was that we're supposed to do vet only for people. We have done 6 now. Why? We are tired. We want to go home.
You know, 10 o'clock is not healthy. When they normally are going to bed the healthy, he had to be healthy enough to be able to do. Okay, we wish that we could do it, but I think health-wise, looking at the ages of all the members of Parliament, I think it has to be a healthy discussion. I don't think that's what the minority is saying.
Honorable, what's the challenge?
The challenge is that there was an agreement between leadership of this committee that they are going to vet only 4 nominees. After the 4 nominees, we agree for additional 1 person, and once that is to work out, we are going to stay here and make sure that there's no any vetting until tomorrow.
And so there you have it. That's the concern of the minority members, who are saying that first they will not work out, but 2, they will not allow the process to continue for the 2 outstanding nominees to be vetted. And the outstanding nominees, one of them is Kwabena Kando, who has taken his seat already. And what's happening is that the proceedings are being disrupted, and the minority members insist that the vetting will not be done. But the majority members insist that the vetting will take place. And so that is the reason for the commotion you are seeing here. Like I said, all the microphones are activated, and as a result, the chairman doesn't even have, and in fact, the desk itself is being impacted by the session, and so it's been quite chaotic here, to be honest with you. And the insistence is that the process will not go on. The process will not go on. The clerk for the committee, Madam Gifty, has been accused of bad faith, and that the agreement was that a number of nominees be vetted, and after that the process be brought to an end till tomorrow. But then that is not what is happening, and as a result, the minority insists that the process will not continue. The process will not continue. Yes, and so Afenyo insists that they are not doing it, the minority leader, and that they are not going to walk out, but then nobody will be allowed to do it. Yes, and so the minority leader insists that the process would not happen and that the process would not go on today. The minority doesn't intend staging a walkout, but of course, yes, that the exercise will not go on today, and the exercise will not go on, but then chaotic here. Take place, and like I said, the two outstanding nominees are Kwabena Minta Kando for health. And the insistence is that this will not happen and this will not take place, and so.
Therefore, it requires proper interrogation and vetting. They should allow us to vet them. The ranking member and the minority leader is doing just that. I think that they should allow us to go through the process and start them so that they can get people and get all of the caliber of people at the Minister of State.
Then also wanted to put, I want to say that the NEC has 7 members and you have 4. And so if there's a disagreement of how many people should go, put out the vote and then
because in the process look at what we are doing. Shame! It's a shame unto you. Shame! This exercise is abandoned today. There's no guarantee that this particular place will be ready tomorrow or during the election of the Speaker. Destroyed. And I can tell you that, as I mentioned, even if members of Parliament decide to return tomorrow, the facilities here will not be ready for the exercise. This place has been abandoned. This place has been abandoned. Here, from the Lord of Prayer, we go. Oh my This exercise is abandoned today. There's no guarantee that this particular place will be ready tomorrow for during the election of the Speaker. Destroyed. And I can tell you that, as I mentioned, even if members of Parliament decide to return tomorrow, the facilities here will not be ready for the exercise. This place is abandoned. This place has been abandoned. Yes, after a lot of prayer we do.
Folks, they are question run you. Just say the night parliament and adjono. Fear what? Just say who see a tenny microphones almost say Nina. Yeah. Almost say microphones Nina. The course of parliament. Now, you have a bit of analysis to what really went on. But the breaking news tonight, just said the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin, was suspending 4 members of Parliament tonight. You have more reasons why these members would have to be suspended. But still in Parliament, a former Minister of Defense, Dominic Nitiwo, has condemned President John Mahama for boarding on his brother's aircraft to Kumasi on the Kweside. So, Nitiwo, at the assembly, about President John Mahama, where do say, DNT, and Okotran, a brother aircraft. Na sa aircraft no Okotran mu, DNT na Nitiwo, person or say, President Mahama, only right says Okotran sa aircraft. None the reasons in the same. But best funny, and then try if you can understand it. Take a lesson to this.
A day ahead, because no president can shower in this aircraft. You cannot freshen up in this aircraft. So you cannot move from this aircraft straight into a meeting. If you are using a commercial plane, Mr. Speaker, it's the same thing. A day ahead, because no president can shower in this aircraft. You cannot freshen up in this aircraft. So you cannot move from this aircraft straight into a meeting. If you are using a commercial plane, Mr. Speaker, it's the same thing.
Asemia papa yokin nyansa ben pa na wom. O say President Mahama ontimi nware, ontimi freshen up e was sa aircraft ni mu. Therefore, na hu hia say so okotra Ibrahim Mahama plane ni mu. So, when we say there was a justifiable a year during the era of former President Adodankwa Akufo-Addo, ɔte plane ma wo dwareɛ empedua king size so say queen size na esim no they had a reason for it. Enti former president Akufo-Addo o dware wom wo siesie no ho wo just say all sorts of things including media nyaka ho wo sa plane. Yeah. Why? Ade yehu se wa broni wo sa plane. Mon kama mintie yehu se wa broni e wo sa plane. Enti president Akufo-Addo o dware osra empedua sim king size se queen size so Miami ntimi hu ne mpakro. Chale guys, the last time be mama sa in the picture no. Sa picture no mun ntimi hwe mfemba. Our president eti plane nim na se queen size so se king size na esi plane nim. Na se wa broni so te empaso. Se wa broni o te empaso e wo plane nim. So to me say o ma penino eti plane nim wo ho no didie wo ho no dware ni ho so so mo de ho say medie nim ne ade e wo plane nim. Can you imagine? And you are telling me say President John Mahama so no so hwehwe. I can't understand Nitiwo. What is going on here? Are you serious? But folks, Dr. Ishmael Norman Emma Nitiwo a response of this. Saying oka assemble no or the eto homa Nitiwo. Take a listen to Dr. Ishmael Norman.
I don't see the noise that the former Minister of Defense is making, who used to be my former boss, and I like him very much, but I think he's just making noise because His Excellency President John Mahama is not ex-President Akufo-Addo. He is not obligated to mimic everything that ex-President Akufo-Addo did. He has his own way. He's an adult, responsible adult. He can make independent judgment. He can decide to go with a commercial jet, or he can decide to go with a presidential jet when the need arises. I simply don't see the rigmarole that Mr. Honorable Nitiwo is making, that it disgraces Ghana that is going on his private jet. What is a disgrace there? He is not bragging about Ghana's wealth. He's going there for a meeting.
Ghana is not a cheap country. And so really for the president to talk about flying on his brother's private jet to save the country, the cost, in his view, it's a cheap option to take because he was looking at the president's security as well.
They would like to see President Mahama spend so much money like their president used to do, and so that they can get excuses to condemn him. And so they are desperately trying to create, this is a bait. And I know President Mahama is so experienced, he's not going to take it. What is the harm here? What is the harm? Honorable Nitiwo, there is no harm here. So for me, the bragging that he's doing is just for his own ego. Ghana is not broke. President Mahama hasn't said Ghana is broke. President Mahama is not egotistic. And so for me, we can ignore all the things that his former Minister of Defense is saying. Secondly, he just took over the presidency barely 15 days, getting to 16 days in a few hours. Now, the aircraft, after every 25 hours of flying the aircraft, after every 25 hours of using the aircraft, it has to be maintained. After every 100 hours, it has to have very serious maintenance. And beyond that, it goes for serious maintenance. The man just took over the presidency. He wants to make sure that everything is going smoothly. He cannot trust the people that are in control of the airport, of the airline. He has to ensure the engine is right. They have to swap it for spying, listening devices. They have to swap it for all kinds of sabotage. They have to make sure that every part of the airport is airline is in good condition. I don't see the trouble that Honorable Nitiwo seems to be having. if President Mahama travels within the country on a military helicopter, what is wrong with that? At least his private seat is not being carried in a V8 engine vehicle behind him. What is wrong with that? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So for me, I don't see the complaint. I don't see the rigmarole that Honorable Nitiwul is making. I respect him dearly. I like him very, very much, but I think he's totally wrong on this one.
Well, he listened to his argument, primarily pinned the central focus of his position is that from the security perspective, as a former defense minister, he wouldn't have rather allowed the president to fly on a private jet belonging to his brother. He would rather even go for the option of paying for a jet that the nation can afford for him to go on. So essentially it's just about the security perspective. That's what he is saying, really, to buttress the point about the fact that to the extent that the jet was used by the former President Nana Addo on January 5th, 2 days to January 7th, there was really no reason for President John Mahama to have not used it.
Mr. Okanzi, Mr. Nitiwul's argument is neither here nor there. It's not about Ghana being broke. It's a choice that the president, the sitting president has made. He should respect it. He is not an aviation expert. With all due respect to him, he's not an aviation expert. He cannot speak on the authority of aviation skills or core competencies. He was the ex-minister of defense, and that's where it should end. He shouldn't seek to advise the current president because he hasn't asked for it.
Good. Folks, enti ansanwa ese Nitiwul nensakan eno na Dr. Ishmael Norman odiama Nitiwul no. You see, me who sent away as a problem. But the president and the brother playing Eddie Akukuma says, so what's the fast about that? Now, folks, let's get to the studio. Then my executive producer Yamba joins me shortly. Nian share the build up to what went on in Parliament and Ranadro. Nian share, can we say that the MPs were wrong? And now, so say what actually went, whatever that went wrong, you know, should that at least precipitate what we saw in Rano to be that of what? And I know they could have contained the disturbances in the other. And I agree, maybe say about a few minutes or up to about an hour ago. Breaking news Alban says Speaker has suspended in Nipa 4 and the but before the baby Yemrana executive producer Yamba on my a build up perspective to why any the enra you and say MPs no more wrong and I say debut parliamentary to man say aneti yaw chief me what do saying good one and right now monitor developments in many other now shame kunti man just I can't say kind to crew near be fly and then you could see tables with him one person and who hear me one pa Jerry Ahmed. Yes. That fresh guy, that new guy. Yeah. And now he was just pushing tables or more lifted they call a whole lot of stuff. Not just an give us that perspective. Say, was it wrong what we saw yesterday night and said this is about parliamentary business?
Okay, thank you, Chief. Parliament, you know, the way yeah. The Ghana Parliament operates on the whip system. And under the whip system, you know, it drew time of decision taking. Yeah. Mostly, you know, the whips that are in charge. Yeah. So that is how come the whip will, and they are mostly in line with the position of the party.
MC, can we see the video along?
They are mostly in line with the position of the party. So whatever decision the political party takes, you know, it is the role of the chief whip to ensure that the parliamentarians fall in line. Yeah. That is how come sometimes it do sometimes say about we won't say the person will vote about the abandonment in the paper to be sure say he is actually towing the line of the party. In the course, you know, if you listen to the majority leader, or party say ideally they were supposed to vet 3 individuals.
Yes.
But along the line, they had a consensus that they could increase the number to 4.
Good.
From 4, and they decided they were increasing it to 6.
Okay.
It's almost vetted to level, no?
Yeah.
I think the majority side wanted to vet more people. And minority, for say, we've you do threshold, then Emma, you go beyond those numbers. Then days are stand off on a buy.
Yeah.
But if you watch carefully what happened in Parliament, and you realize that 2 people played a key role in this.
Exactly.
Honorable Frank Anodompre, then Honorable Roxanne Nelson Dafiamepo of South Dye, the 2 of them. And another person you talk about is the gentleman.
Yeah.
Jerry Ahmed. Yeah, he's a deputy to Anodompre. So he's a whip.
So he's a deputy whip.
Yes.
I see.
At that particular point in time now, is the whips that mostly are in charge of discipline in Parliament when it comes to the MPs. Until when the whip says that this is what we are doing, every parliamentarian will fall in line, or they whip them in line. Until so we took a decision at the leadership level, and when he was the majority leader, and my brothers on the other side agreed that we'll go this way. But the next day, that means that the party is giving them a direction.
Okay. The party is
it's giving them a direction. This is how we want you to go. And once that happens, it is the responsibility of the whip to ensure that the parliamentarians fall in line. And to said that they played crucial role.
I see.
Baby now say no, we won't agree. But Afenyomakin was there, and then the chair of the committee was there. But the 2 of them, they were just they were just commanding the MPs, and they were.
So can I ask you yourself? Can we say, sir, your friend is saying the whips yesterday were doing their job as whips? So as per the reactions that was going on. And how should the Ghanaian interpret this? They
were actually doing their job, but they couldn't control the members to ensure there will be no damages. You can decide that this is the decision we want to take. To the minority now, we will not participate in the vetting anymore. We won't also leave to allow you to do the vetting.
Okay, yes. So Hona, explain to us.
Because mostly what we hear is that in Parliament the minority have their say, the majority will have their way. So when they said that, baby, we are tired, let's cut off the proceedings. The majority insisted that the vetting will continue. They knew very well if they walk away, the majority will carry on with the vetting. So we will not only have our say, but we also have our way. We will not allow you to vet the people. So and the only issue or difficulty with this has to do with the destruction of public property. But ideally, Parliament is a house of debates, and when you do honoma, but almost say and I say the whole process. And I say no, but I know Dompre, Jerry, and Dafiamepo, they were doing their work.
I see. At that time, we saw the chairman sitting there quietly.
Yes.
What do you make of the chairman? As a chairman of the committee, and he couldn't turn his left, right hands, all of that. Do you think that was the right thing?
When it gets to the level where the whips are in charge, at that point in time, we are in charge of the people.
I see.
And that is how come.
So you have to rise to the
occasion. That's how come. Even in Parliament, if they say the whip says we are voting this way, the majority leader cannot go do otherwise.
That's what we call them whips.
Yeah. They will whip you in line. They will whip you in line. Because when they say this is how we are going, everybody, whether you are a deputy speaker or you are a majority leader, that is the line you have to do.
And whip and say, yeah, Mankunyasu, you
I won't say before you do some level, then people begin to lose control. And the minority won't say no, if we don't do this, come what may, the majority will have their way, and we will not allow them to have their way, and of course all these problems.
I see. So not to say, we cannot blame the members of Parliament in that much. Per what we saw yesterday,
we can only blame them for Nyomana Maseno.
Okay.
But say for them to disagree on something,
on their hot tempers,
for them to disagree, it's allowed. Only say we do baby or but they don't hit each other and all those things. But if it gets to that level, we can blame them so much anymore. And if you have followed today's proceedings, the Speaker of Parliament actually says that they will deduct it from the salaries of the parliamentarians involved.
I see.
Yeah, to fix them. So it is one of the directions of the Speaker.
I see.
Yeah.
Good. So quick one. Now tonight we are learning that the Speaker has suspended 4 members of Parliament. Yes. Who are these people and why?
So it is the reason why when I was watching the video, I knew very well that the whip system was at play. If you look at the members of Parliament that have been suspended, you see the chairman of the committee is there. He has not been suspended. Afenyo Makin, who is the ranking member, has not been suspended. But Dafia Mekpo, the chief whip for the majority side, has been suspended. Anodom Pre has been suspended. Jerry Ahmed has been suspended. Then one other MP from the minority side, Al Hassan Tampul, for Bushegu constituency, has also been suspended. The 4 of them.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
If Ayadi also take responsibility, the chairman of the committee and the ranking, in charge of the committee. So if there is any chaos there, they should be hot. The first people to be suspended. But at this point, the Speaker suspended the whips because discipline. They are in charge of discipline. They are supposed to make sure that the MPs are disciplined.
I see. Good one, folks. I believe sir, Bibrinimunya understanding of this because Bibriniyentia Sefer we share messages are Abameha Bibre EDD your MPs not near the but however you may insult me, not insult. There are certain aspects where you need to understand them. Sir, one more because like y'all said, it's a house of debate. But microphones in the next they've gone beyond the threshold of that responsibility now. But there's also tears say yes, it will be a whip. No, will be a minority leader. Yeah, quickly before you go, now paint a picture for us where you see now Afenyo Makin has become very vociferous. Afenyo Makin has become, very hot iron. Do you foresee, say, the minority, if you like, put it in that of quotation, micro minority, do you foresee, say, it's as though they are losing their relevance, and therefore, so it will look as though the super majority of NDC for the commercial and more yes, and I say they are overdoing it. How do you place them?
Thank you, Chief. Afenyo Makin's position, they are just 88 in number.
Yes.
And at this point in time, it is mostly the minority in Parliament that holds government accountable.
That's correct.
If you recall, the 8th Parliament, the minority then, they had huge numbers. And at a point in time when they decided to go against the e-levy, even though the e-levy was eventually passed, the minority decided that they were not in support of the e-levy. And that decision is one of the reasons why MPP lost woefully. So the minority got something out of it. Afenyo Makin and his people at this point in time, they are supposed to be seen to be a strong opposition is needed in Parliament, and they do not have the numbers. Until soft kakrana majority already the numbers will trample upon you. And so if you are becoming a bit soft, you cannot even operate at all, and you'll be rendered useless. So at this point in time, Afenyo Makin and then Nkofo, they will be known after the 4 years. As to whether they were a weak minority or a strong minority, because they don't have the numbers. Majority always have their way. They will always have their way. They want to court public sympathy to a large extent because numbers. So you need strong people to lead the minority at this point in time in order to be able to hold the government accountable.
So are you therefore suggesting or saying that with the hardline stand of Afenyo Makin, we should not find too much fault with, therefore Afenyo Makin should be allowed to operate as a minority leader?
No. So when you follow the proceedings on the with the committee, Afenyo Makin is a ranking member, and what a lot of people have complained is that the chairman is allowing him to ask too many questions. But per their rules,
he's asking.
Their rules and their procedure, he is allowed to ask countless number of questions.
Say that again.
Per the rules of the committee, Afenyo Makin does not have limited number of questions to ask. So it is his discretion to decide whether he wants to ask one question, two or three. If he decides to ask 1,000, the chairman must allow him to ask those questions, except in a situation where the chairman feels that the question is inappropriate and he will rule out, or you ask him to rephrase the question. But he cannot tell him ask 2 questions or 3 questions.
But members are limited in terms of
the other members are limited.
Supplementary questions.
Yeah, they are limited. So if you watch carefully, Edu Baby now, the members that are limited in terms of the number of questions they can ask, they push some of the questions to Afenyo. Because at that point in time, maybe I wanted to ask 5 questions, but I was allowed to ask only 3. What will I do? The leader he has countless, so he will have the opportunity to ask those questions on my behalf.
I see. Now, viewers, I hope say education now urban move follow ni. Just say ebiso ntia says aden yama kwan ma Afenyo marking obisa nsem. But here Yao is giving a build up say per the rules of the game, of the committee, Afenyo marking there. Obetime bisa question bia as many as esotimi bisa. And who say members be bisa questions and they do ebi no mo depending whether supplementary questions say they on and I say for I saw the money ne saying ne leader I then it is our question better. So yeah, we can conclude that Afenyo marking is not out of the threshold, right?
No, what he's doing is within their rules, and the chairman is more or less helpless. So it's up to Afenyo marking to decide. Say I want to ask a few questions, or I want to ask more questions for want of a better way. So chairman won't think say Afenyo cannot ask this. It's up to him. When said the other members, especially from the majority side, they are not comfortable with the number of questions Afenyo is asking. And if you follow the proceedings, one of the members was pushing for the chairman to limit Afenyo. The chairman said no. Per our rules, we all agreed on this, and we know the ranking has an opportunity to ask as many questions as possible. If he decides to ask questions the next day, I cannot stop him because that is the rule. So until they change that rule, you cannot limit Afenyo. You can't.
I see. Good. Yeah. Good. So hang in there. You'll be also shortly. Our Ghana Speaks extension. Of course, I was going to give us some build up on the next story. Na enche na ya ama some perspectives. So folks, now you have to understand some of these parliamentary practices. Where is it? What goes on the floor of the house or in the plenary? And you need now but I always say, folks, we must learn. Ghana for some of the American one question platform. Yeah, chirawadie niye mawusu adia. Ube chirabontin aye dede sa to bear. Won't say that you begin to spill your ignorance. So no. You may claim you know, yet you are swimming in your own pool of ignorance. All right? Too many ignoramuses in the system. You have to know what happens in Parliament. And now, no, be say, I Jerry Ahmed, or no, I knew call Parliament, or D in someone in. I say, but say they are working on. Or your deputy, dear Beya, shape, Anna, Meba, deputy shape, or you need to know. Jomu ya, uncle ye, say, umubu microphones in Maniade. Anadri. Breaking news, speaker, and so I then was suspended and go free. Let's just say, and no conduct any speaker in any angel. You must may be a floor of the house sometime in the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic. And could you say, speaker best suspended? But for this one, speaker would need to crack it hard. And the idea Coco is suspension. Great, yeah. And say, you can take a leave, definitely, best say, Afro and Chakra. Folks, up next. Before we go for the break, ASM, there's this developing story coming.
So I think as at now, dear Minoka say, what will one say? What is the reasons why Afenyo markings and make it a lot of disturbing just why baby with sharp teeth or kasa or the vetting committee national. Meaning says because he has the authority to ask as many as he can. Any question you be seen at Jimbiano and Brandon man who quite so near the umbisa. And I know say what's not to want see the reasons why Speaker Alban Bagbin what me I the ascension the 2 hips on the various caucus what you say what me sanction what you say and that is the enchidemua if you kwana anything yakupon show so mama is full details or mama that analysis the reasons why ekofa sanction we na ebaye nti Speaker so ultimately take the bold decision. This is called what? Speaker of Parliament. But Speaker of Parliament allegation being in the social media I was say you draw attention ebi na wunim ye na ye nipa okatachi afrifa e kan sembi se nkofo bi no hihye sika e de kosi speaker no fie so mfanye some special duty bi abusia saa de we ene ekoso social media pa because nkofo ebo video no and credibility nso de edin so obetimi abuild ni ye nti se wetimi abuild credibility and reputation yentena se ema obi asabi ope bibie di awuo emese ne mawo na ikana maka ne sen ye papa Speaker Kingsford Alban Bagbin ye the speaker for the 8th parliament and the 9th parliament papa ebe hia se obeden o miss call na wanya no be attend to because ene reputation de eye ba akopɛ woyɛ ho hwenye yie enkofo nya perception bi sɛ woyɛ corrupt woyɛ sebi wo gige nkofo sika na ade a the respect people have for you no it will totally shrink what you say it will diminish what you say it will just vanish vomut obekokra into esra okatachi nsemo o kan either say obefro okatachi amana cause parliament to announce ube frɛ wankasa wo lawyer dada ube frɛ wo lawyers na mo file lawsuit na mo bisa no say on file evidence bra na on fambe back in claims the reasons why intia all kasa ansem no and where ohun say wo gi sika no say the Oliver Baka ekoka ansem ewi eche mo frɛ na no hu di okan it I think say asem go kai in 2023 I think so yes 2023 video mfanche misementi memmo bia mo ahwe but munna munim say you have come across that video how Katachi Free make a lot of allegations against the Speaker of Parliament enti also wagi sika wagi bomu ade nkofo bi ma hihye sika e de kosi na soye enti ebe me de se speaker ebe frɛ no ana se obe invite no court because speaker lawyer kunyini pa watena ba no so for almost 50 years yes Speaker Alban Bagbin na making or a lawyer ni kunyini pa sebi onimembra no and onim di oye enti ekoba se obi a obe sori keke jobless man like Okatachi Frifa ebe bi na no aspect of rubbish no and I don't know for now men can say rubbish because ebi o evidence obe bi na no obe kan say bi ebi na he has an evidence to back his claims enti speaker say no say obi ahihye sika e de ba ofia mayemhu senye no kware nso a call him let him meet you at the court na munye de mundi asem no enti saa na wo ye wadwen say oversight and so ye wadwen say wo bo wani afa so what so nti ya speaker we will keep on reminding you because you are a public servant and something like this we need explanation to that. We need clarification. We need what I say total details about it. Until if we decide not to react to anything like that, then we will assume or we will just decide say no correct and Okatachi fancy more can he has a point. But if we try to do what to respond to him and allow him to bring the evidence, then we could see say speaker he is innocent. Until you prove yourself innocent, we are not going to say enye no kware and enye no kware nti speaker I know say same way this is not the first time I watch it. Don't pretend as if you haven't heard this. Yes, come out and tell us the truth. No kware said the Katachi Free for sika bi ebeka onsa enkofo bi hihye sika bi e de brown no kware papa come out and obi kan asem we ye beyiwa no what you say, come and remove your mouth. Who the echo. On this idea, some of us won't get our conscience clear because we will keep on saying it and we will zoom say no quarrel and becker. That is the information I have for Speaker Alban Bagbin. Let me repeat. Okatachefifa makes some claims that Speaker Alban Bagbin has received amount of money illegally from a certain person he Okatachefifa knows very well. So for that matter, Speaker, we need your response to these allegations Okatachefifa is making about you. And come out and let us know your decision. That is finito. What you say? What can I say? Se fini, what you say? That is finito, se fini. They say, enwa, enono. Yeah, we abusia meso so subscribe na like it mo no share na foforo nya bia hwe hanom your number one authentic channel ye dika ka chiro se be ko twi e kobremai no hanom na benya no itibisra subscribe na February yem vibe together what you say intimi enwura na intimi ko yanim e wo dokwan so itibisra for comment tum na subscribe to your channel no for latest updates we ma michi ba for United States of America, New York now. Mammy Yakupon Yoke, Papa Yakupon Shroud. Sans Mamma be if you UK, Yakupon your mamma, Royal BTV, na subscribe, be me and Coso. I was young, the Diacoso Yadipiti, about the Yaduma, Ivesin Asia. Best or say, Odo comment betum. I was handsome way home. Na BBB me a Coso. A crew bibia. Bye bye.